The SU-30SM is quite an interesting aircraft in my opinion. It is the first true thrust vectoring fighter in WarThunder. Other aircraft like the Yak-141 and the Harriers and the Yak-38s had access to thrust vectoring, but those are more a landing style. The SU-30SM has access to a thrust vectoring that is used for dogfights to make it more maneuverable, and it is paired with the greatest IR missile we have in WarThunder for dogfights right now, the R-73. So this duo already makes the SU-30SM a formidable foe in dogfights, if not the best dogfighter in the game, one of the best. And its ARB gameplay is also pretty okay. Yes, you are a very large aircraft, but you have access to a phenomenal radar and missiles that are now finally towards the par of the AIM-120, being your R-77-1s, and you get a high amount of these. You still get low countermeasure counts like most Soviet and Russian aircraft, and obviously you're quite large and you don't carry fuel tanks, and the low countermeasures, like I said, can definitely harm you, but it is still a fairly decent aircraft in ARB. Now, I wouldn't go as far as saying it's as good as the F-15E or the Eurofighter or even the Rafale, but it is definitely somewhere in the top 10, and it is totally okay as a Russian's top aircraft. Now, one thing I wanted to point out about this plane is that in dogfights, it is actually a bit absurd. Now, yes, you guys probably already understood this with the thrust vectoring it has and the R-73s, but it really is just kind of, when used properly, it's very hard to beat. Now, if you're allowing R-73s, I'd say this plane, in most cases, should be unbeatable. Using high AOA to get off high AOA R-73 shots, it's most of the time going to win. Now, if you get to a guns-only fight, you're going to be able to run around a Su-30 a little bit better, especially if it's not able to use, like I said, R-73s. And against a good, smart opponent who's able to dodge your R-73s, you are going to just get outbled and outflown, and then eventually bleed out your speed, especially once you start thrust vectoring. As this plane, it's quite heavy. It'll bleed away a majority of its airspeed, and then you're kind of just in a questionable situation where you're out of airspeed, and you have an aircraft that has withheld most of it. But in most cases, when you're allowing R-73s, this plane should come out of the gates and be able to win the majority of the opponents it fights. Now, in ARB, you're not really going to be getting into dogfights very much, so you're looking at using the plane more as a BVR platform, which, like I said already, it has a good radar, paired with missiles that are finally closer to the on par with the AIM-120, but you still have low countermeasure counts, and obviously you're quite large. You're still a twin-engine flanker that is going to be very heavy with a lot of air-to-air missiles, so you're not going to go around and have the greatest flight performance. But when you get into dogfights, especially if you're just doing them in custom battles, or actually get into a 1v1 with light fuel loads and low air-to-air missiles, you're going to have an absolute ball with the aircraft. I think by far it is definitely one of the best dogfighters in the game. I think paired with the R-73, it's a bit absurd. And I think the game is only going to get more absurd. We're going to, keep in mind, we're still going to see things like the F-18 Super Hornet that gets access to the 9X, or even the F-18C is getting access to the 9X. We're yet to see the F-22, Su-57, J-20. All of these aircraft are going to be absurd like this, pulling an extremely high AOA with thrust vectoring, and then using extremely powerful missiles. I mean, if you guys think the R-73 is good in dogfights now, wait till we see something like the 9X, or even upgraded models of the R-73. It's only going to get more absurd from here. This really is, the last bit of actually conventional dogfights. I mean, like, where you take things, I remember, not too long ago when it was Gripens and F-15s and F-16s, and whoever could rate fight the best would tend to be victorious. Now, it's just whoever can pull off and get the first missile tends to be the one who wins in these dogfights, or whoever energy traps the opponent. It really has, it really reached a point where it's just going to be whoever can, I guess, get the first missile off, and it's only going to get more like that as the game progresses. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. Do you guys think the SU-30SM is broken? Do you guys think it's balanced? What are your thoughts on the R-72? Do you think they are still, very absurd in dogfights? Do you guys think that this plane needs a nerf, or needs a buff, or what are your guys' thoughts on it just in general? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Feel free to check out the Discord link down below in the description. Also, check out the Twitch channel. I stream there pretty much every day. And I hope to see you guys in a later video.